Hello, welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're going to be covering the Warrior Basic and Situational Training exercise of the Fall 2020 semester in West Virginia, One Shepherd. This was the third and final semester of One Shepherd in 2020. This one was held in West Virginia, and I was lucky enough to be there with my good friend Brent 0331 and Leo making his appearance again. And it was a great reunion, seeing many familiar faces, but also seeing many new faces coming into the One Shepherd Regiment. As always, the first day began with some PT, and then it launched into the individual skill classes. And there were two classes taught in this semester. First one being Warrior Basic, and the second being the Mission Command course. I have in-depth studies of both these. If you hit the playlist that'll come up at the end of this video, you can check out those classes in detail. A quick synopsis of both, though, is in the Warrior Basic class, you learn how to use the Miles system, and you also get to have your AR-15 weapon system issued to you that's configured to operate in a Miles environment. From there, you go into individual movement techniques. You also learn firing positions to employ your AR-15 weapon system with Miles. And you learn about traveling formations. You learn about fighting formations such as the wedge and the echelon. And you also learn the employment of the TA-1 field phone system. In addition to that, you learn how to use the PRC-77 and PRC-128 radios. And you also get classes on employment of the D300 night vision system. For those in the Warrior Basic, your first mission is a night mission. Talk about feeding from the fire hose, right? So the night link-up mission consists of the Warrior Basic being broken down into two units that go out on a patrol, and there is OPFOR actively out there. The patrols link up at a designated point, and then they retrograde back to the FOB as a complete unit. As a matter of course, in the history of the Warrior Basic, the night link-up mission is tough, varsity level stuff, and 2/3 of the time the units do not achieve the link-up. However, in this case, both units did achieve link-up. One did have contact with an enemy force, but later came out and was able to get to the objective and complete link-up with the other unit. The two units of the one that had contact also had serious communication problem, but by following through their predetermined plan and following good link-up procedures, the two units linked up. There was no friendly fire, and once linked up, they returned back to base without any issue. With the second day of the semester beginning, PT changed up a little bit, and it became a Ruck March. Both the WBC and the MCC combined into one unit for this Ruck March. And the purpose of the Ruck March is to teach everybody how to know how their gear is riding and performing. A Ruck March, if you are unbalanced or something's not right, can totally kick your butt like nothing else in this world. So this march is used as training for people to find out how their gear sits, how it's riding, and what changes they need to make. And several points throughout the march, people do get the opportunity to do this. It's a little bit over 2 miles, and it's at a comfortable pace. It's not at a breakneck speed. It's not exactly the most tactical march, as the unit's just moving out in a staggered column. Halfway through, there's a halt where people can water up. They can make adjustments to their gear. And towards the end, there's another slight halt and time for final adjustments. And then upon the return to the FOB, people can make any adjustments to the gear that they need to before the FTX comes up, where they have to be humping their rucks throughout the whole exercise. Upon completion of the Ruck March, there's chow, and then they move into the next batch of classes they have. And these classes cover movement to contact, react to contact, hasty ambush, react to ambush. And once those classes are complete, then the students get some chance to do force on force and apply what they learned in all their classes throughout the 2 days.
Bang, bang. You're in the woods. Pow, 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 pow. Bang, bang. Pow, 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 pow. Bang, bang. Pow, 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 pow. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Pow, 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 pow. pow! Bravo, set! Bravo!
The WBC was left in the two teams they had been divided up into for the night mission, and they were given a simple force-on-force mission. They were put into a wood line, and the two units were told to move north or south as required, so they would have a meeting up and a firefight. Some units chose to move a short distance and then lay ambushes. Other units chose to be aggressive and moving forward. At the end of each run-through, as people got eliminated from the fight due to mile hits, when it reached a point one side was completely depleted and no one was left, the exercise was ended. Then the students were reset. They remarried their miles, they were made alive again by the OCs, and the two teams were put back into the lane so they could move in and apply the lessons they had just learned. On the third go-through, we kept up a faster pace of fighting. Basically, as people were killed, they came out, they were respawned. If they still had ammo, they were sent right back into the fight to keep it more of a rolling firefight. And it was very interesting, as one team would push one almost to the end, and then another one would surge back and push them almost to the end and out of bounds. It was very back and forth, and it just shows how one rifleman at the right place at the right time with the right firepower can change the course of the battle. At the completion of the WBC force-on-force exercise, there was the One Shepherd patching ceremony, where the warrior basic people earned their patch and are made part of the One Shepherd regiment. From there, the day pretty much ended. We had lunch, then we launched into weapons maintenance, maintenance of the radios, maintenance of any optical devices that were checked out, and then the warriors had free time to shower up and prepare for the STX. Morning of the third day of the semester was the start of the STX, and like most mornings at One Shepherd, it began with PT. For those members of the Warrior Basic that were continuing on, they had their rifles, and the members of the MCC had yet to have equipment issued, so they used pugil sticks for bayonet training for morning PT.
We're going to cover the raid, and again, that is just how to steal shit from people.
The first class of the day of the STX was the raid, and Dr. Chris Larson went over all the principles of what to do on a raid. Let's listen in and see a little bit of what's going on.
I'm going to say, I don't give a damn what kind of unit you are. I'm going to say infantry and, or combat arms or special forces, but I don't care if you're a signal corps and you pull off a raid. It's the stuff of legends. It's kind of cast iron balls sort of stuff. And it doesn't happen easily, and there are failed raids.
After the class, the students were given a daylight raid assignment. Myself and two other members went out to play OPFOR on the objective, and this is my GoPro video of how the raid went down.
Alright, so here's the situation. We've set in at our position. We're maintaining a weapons cache. We have set in place. We're just waiting for the students in the STX to come and aggress against us. Right now we play the boring waiting game. Kind of is what it is, but we'll go from there and we'll see what happens.
So we're covering three angles of approach. Got one team member that you can see here. He's covering there. Just keep covering the approach there. And he is looking for their main avenue out of the bob. Well concealed in this bush in front of me is my other team member. He's covering our southerly approach. What you see in the front of me is our easterly approach, and I am next to the weapons cache, and I can reinforce either position when the fighting begins.
So the team member ahead covering the westerly approach and what we expected to be the enemy's main avenue of attack detected one member of the Op 4 doing a reconnaissance round. So with that information, I went and told our other team member covering the south, because it looked like that sighting had the Op 4 moving around us to come up through the south.
Keep an eye. I think they're going to try to circle in this way. Hold your position. I got your 6. Okay. Did I miss your signal earlier, or you just been watching them the whole time? They just came up right now. Okay, roger. Yep, got it. So I'm going to leave Leo where he's at. Looks like they're going to try to come in from the south. Okay. You still see some to your front? Okay. Okay, I saw 5 move to the south. Okay, so that was their recon earlier. That's probably their assault. That's probably their support. All right. You got me.
Go, go, go! Nothing's going? No, go. If you're dead, you're not going.
Well, at least I got some of you fuckers.
Yeah.
At this point, all 6 members of the raid force have been killed, 3 during the initial assault and 3 more as they were rounding the objective. 2 members of the Op 4 have dead, leaving 1 left alive. At this point, the APL has realized that his raid force has been wiped out, and he's organized what's left of his support force to go in and continue the raid.
Move it. Looking for an enemy weapons cache. Should be. Give me a wooden crate. Around here. Where we go? Okay, all right, this shed's clear. Got it. Right here. This is close side of the house. Oh, time. Right. It might be this small shed here. Right. Copy. Okay, here it is. Found it. All right. Hey, Derek, I want you here. Derek, come up. Derek, you have the ammo. Ready? Reach. Go. Come here. You have the ammo. I got next mag, man. Yeah, all right. Jack, you have mag? All right, you on me. You want me on the coast? We're gonna bring it back. Luke, right? Are we safe? Yep. Cool. Go. Moving. This green line here on the right hand side safer. Yep. Green. Right. Your security. Again, I want you here on this shed. Come on back. Good. We're gonna okay. Ben and I are on the box. Yep. All right. Now, Derek. All right, McKen, you get our security to cross. All right, actually, no, sorry, wrong way. McKen, get bar security. Okay. And then we'll cross over, and we'll use the cover, okay? Move. No, left or right. When are you ready? Go. Good. All right, good. Ready? Were you ready? Ready. All right. Standing. Good. Head over. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go. Moving. Cross me. Move up. Got you. Moving. Last man.
So after lunch, Brent gave us a class on how to set up a patrol base. And the purpose of this was, one, to teach people how to properly set up a patrol base, obviously, but also the patrol base that the students set up in the afternoon class would be used as the patrol base launching point for the nighttime raid.
So we got the fob back here. We got our 3 fire teams, which make up our squad. Over here is an objective that eventually we're going to do something with, probably a raid. Okay, let's just say we're going to conduct a raid on this objective later on. This is all enemy territory. All right, this is all enemy territory. So we step off from the fob. We got Alpha Bravo and Charlie. We're moving to a location where we're going to establish our patrol base.
All right, so in the patrol base class, the patrol base has been established. LPOP has been set in place. And now we are sending out an Op4 team to do a patrol of the area the PB is in to see if it is discovered.
So first and foremost, what do we think?
So the students were successful. The LPOP detected the OP4 patrol coming by, but no members of the OP4 detected either the LPOP or discovered the patrol base on their rounds. And this speaks well to the students because the OP4 is made up of instructors and other students, and the instructor cadre, we have a general idea of where the students have set up their patrol base. And so it speaks well to their noise discipline and their selection of the patrol base that even having a general idea of where they were located, we did not detect them.
What was the mission as far as you know?
As far as I know, the mission was to set up the outpost with a LCOD, so I could provide overwatch for Alpha and the progress.
Were you at the LPOP? Okay. Who's at the patrol base?
Oh, the Charlie was. Yeah.
Stand up. Mission as you know it.
Our mission was to establish a patrol base without being detected, dig it in a little bit, set up a LPOP, and then we ended up doing some light reconnaissance out to a different vantage point to look out onto another field.
So after the patrol base class ended, we had evening chow. And from evening chow, the students moved back to their patrol base, and then they launched their night raid. And so all this makes sense because what you're seeing on the screen is nothing more than the images through my thermal scope. We set out a van, covered it in camouflage netting, and it was a 3-man OP4. I am covering from the rear of the vehicle back on what I determined would be the avenue of likely approach. And as you can see, the assault element here in my sights, I was pretty accurate on assuming that that would be the avenue of likely approach, but not as accurate as it was in my mind. At the time, I thought, oh, this group of guys forming up, that's going to be the support element. I thought the assault element would come around the other side of the trees and attack us from behind, and I placed one of my team members to cover the forward part of the van in case they snuck around that way, and the third was tucked just into the tree line that you're seeing off to the left of this image, just out of the frame. He was just inside the tree line, and he could cover either direction. In the end, what happened was what you see before you is the actual assault element. The support element was out in the field that was off to my right. And it was a big open field with only a bit of micro terrain in there, so I considered that the least likely avenue of approach, and had no idea that there was any enemy out there in that field until the first shots went off and my miles started beeping. The assault force included 6 people, and the support force had the remainder of the students. I think that was another 6, and they divided their force. They did it textbook perfect. We were lucky. We were all eventually wiped out. My teammate, who was just off to the left and out of the screen, was taken out in the initial volley from the support element. I was eventually taken out at close range by the assault element, and the final member of the team who was covering the front of the vehicle did not get taken out until they actually blew up the vehicle. Blew up, of course, in little quoting marks, but nevertheless they were successful in their mission. We were lucky. We managed to kill 3 people on the assaulting force. Considering that none of these weapons had their night vision zeroed. I was using thermals on top of an LSW, and if you look at the bottom of your screen, slightly off center to the right, kind of a opaque area, that's the MileSat emitter, and then you can see where my aiming reticle was above it. So it was not zeroed to where the laser was going, so the 2 kills that I got were sheer luck. And the other 2 members of the team were using PVS 14s with no PEC emitters, so they were just kind of poking and hoping in the night. One of them got a kill, so it wasn't in vain. If I think all our stuff had been zeroed properly, would it have gone off? Yes. Or would it have gone was getting more kills? Probably, especially if we had a PEC, definitely. But the support element was laying down such effective fire, I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the raid.
Contact to the left or to the right. They're also off to our down to our 12 too. They're on the road. That was uncool of you to die. I'm dead already. I'm just.
I'm dead. That's me. That's me.
All right, keep going. I'm dead just filming.
LOA, Ole, come on. Get the. You guys know C4, C4, C4.
Demo team, go.
Demo team. I'm gonna move with you guys, but you guys aren't in charge. I'm no longer in charge. I'm dead. Take it. Go. Escape right through them. Escape right through them. Big titties. Big titties. 6. Big titties 4. Big titties 4. You okay? Good. Yeah, me too. Hey, any other blue for us? Okay, there you go. Oh, are you dead? Yeah. Oh. Okay, that's fine. It's the demo there.
So what, we got 3 of you? All right.
So day 4, the second day of the STX, started off with PT, and bayonets training was still in force, this time with the pugil sticks in a force-on-force environment. So day 2's class was area reconnaissance. There was a classroom portion explaining reconnaissance techniques. Then the teams were assigned. The PL, as you see here, gave his briefing and did a terrain model, and then the students moved out and conducted a reconnaissance of an area.
That the team leader and I discussed earlier. Exact detail, we don't have to go into that. We're out of time for that anyway.
from their release point, 2 of you guys will stay behind. Each recon team leader will take 1 guy into their own recon point. Approximately 120 degrees in between each of them, surrounding the recon area. We're not going into the exact opposite of the target because that's an open field.
While the students were tasked with conducting an area reconnaissance, the Op 4, which consisted of 4 people, consisted of just occupying the area. Originally, it was supposed to be a small complex of buildings that included a house, a workshop, and a pole barn. However, that part of the training area was in conflict with another force that was using it, so we had to quickly move into a wooded area and set up a small campsite around a vehicle, and we used that as a weapons cache. While 2 members of the Op 4 manned that weapons cache, 2 other members, myself and Brent, would go out on patrols every few minutes to see if we could see the students trying to sneak in and conduct their recon, and to see what they reported of our actions.
Well, they clearly don't see us. Should we light them up?
I think so.
Ready? 3.
Hold on, they're not armed.
While out on our first patrol, Brent and I clearly saw one of the recon teams sneaking in on our position to observe us. It doesn't show up so well here on the GoPro footage, but they are out there just to the left of the little clump of trees in the middle, and we could see them clear as daylight. My initial reaction was to light them up and let them know it was there. Brent had a better idea, and we went ahead and put a little show on for them to see what they would report at the end of their mission.
There you go. All right, now. Man, that chow last night, dude. I'm really feeling it today.
Welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you.
On your 6 in the trees.
What's up?
I think right on my 6. If you look over my shoulder, I think you'll see one. Yeah, man, yeah, good to see you again, man. It's so good to be with you, and right out there in the field, I can see his head poking up.
I see ya.
Yeah, you know what I mean. We say and then there.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That sounds good.
yeah.
Area resupply coming soon. They put the smoke.
Excellent, excellent. Hopefully they bring the vodka this time.
Upon completion of the area reconnaissance exercise, the students had an AAR, and this is where they disclosed all the information that they gained on their reconnaissance, where they fused together all the information that all the recon teams acquired, and they went over what they had accomplished, what they saw, what they knew of the enemy, and then the instructors let the students know that what they did good, what they could do improve upon. And after that AAR, there was a good chow. And when the chow was complete, we launched into a PMCS cycle to clean all the weapons, clean all the miles and other gear that had been used during the 2 days of the STX, and to get everything prepared for the FTX, which began the next day. We hope you find this coverage of the One Shepherd fall semester at West Virginia helpful and informative. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in for our video about the FTX of this semester.